We're the voices of experiencers, and we are the experiencers of extraterrestrials.
Thanks. Yeah, it's a little creepy. I mean,
Well,
but
and when we're saying stuff like, we don't understand because we're viewing it as a person from Earth, like a human being, maybe to that. But in that clip, she is relating to her friend as someone she has an attachment to, which is a very human emotion. So, and the fear is a very human emotion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's more similarity maybe that way with us and that race.
Good
than
point,
maybe
Dana.
Whatever.
Just what's out there in the abyss, in the darkness of the unknown.
Last week, maybe that's just what they're telling her, and it isn't really true. And now maybe we see why.
It's time for disclosure and it's time for truth, because what lies in the darkness brings powerful transformation.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, the human race isn't a whole lot different. Who are the workers that? But aside from eating
Literally.
another, the lower, or the workers, are the ones that feed everybody.
We're the bridge between two different worlds, with one foot in this reality and one in the next.
Reminded me of that one regression we had, Dana and everybody. They talked about that they understood that they were going to be food. Remember that? The one behind the rocks and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they understood that that was part of life, that eventually if they reached a certain age, whatever, they would become food.
When they're ripe enough,
Yeah.
they get eaten.
The shift is here, along with profound integration. Just who are extraterrestrials and what are their plans?
Now that you're at another important day, I want you to look around and tell me what's happening.
Trying to kill me. You gotta let me out.
They're trying to kill you?
Yeah, I want out.
I just want you to know you're safe and protected.
They're gonna kill me.
And you're just observing who's trying to kill you.
The leads.
Why are they trying to kill you?
They got too close to the room. They're trying to harm my friends.
You have a friend there with you?
They have them.
They have him?
They took him in there. And usually you go in there, they don't come out. It's my friend.
And so what happens next?
If I go any farther, they'll kill me too.
Do you have to stay out of there?
I gotta save him. I don't know how.
And so what do you do next then?
I don't know. I'm scared, but I don't want him to die.
So let's move forward just a little bit. And what's happening now?
He's screaming.
You can hear him screaming?
Screaming. And he's screaming. They don't scream like you do.
How do they scream?
Just high, really high pitch. I guess you'd describe it as a whistle. Real high pitched.
And now what's happening? Quiet.
He's gone. They killed him.
It's time to find out with the Voices of Contact.
We are the voices of experiencers because we are the experiencers. It's time for disclosure and it's time for truth because truth brings powerful transformation. We are the voices of change. We are about evolution on an expansive level, living life without fear and becoming the bridge between two different realities. Profound evolution is here. Profound integration is here. This is the Voices of Contact. Hi, everyone. I'm Mary. I'm a channeler and psychic medium. I'm also a hypnosis regressionist for ET experiencers, and I work with MUFON doing regression work. I also work with PTSD experiencers, paranormal experiencers, and victims of crime to assist them in recall. I'm really looking forward to another amazing show tonight with our panel. I just want to say to you guys that the work that you're doing here with me is so impactful, like literally it's life-changing. And I thank you for being a part of it and being here with me. It means more than you realize to me as well as the listeners. So allow me to introduce some of my most favorite people. First, we have Deb and RJ DeRoos. They're authors, paranormal UFO researchers, and they're experiencers themselves. And they also are the founders of the Michigan UFO Contact that happens every year in Houghton Lake, Michigan at the end of September. They're owners and managers of Mystical Awakenings Radio, Mystical Awakening Podcast on the YouTube channel, and at the Mystical Awakenings Metaphysical Store in Houghton Lake, Michigan. Last but definitely not least, we have our amazing new panelist, Deborah Jordan Cobble. She was the central figure in Bud Hopkins' international bestseller, Intruders, The Incredible Visitations at Copley Woods, which was actually made into a CBS miniseries in 1992. She's co-author of the book Abducted, The Story of the Intruders Continues, and author of Extraordinary Contact, Life Beyond Intruders. She's a former Indiana MUFON investigator and co-founder of her own paranormal group, Paranormal Underground, and host of the Midwest Paratalk podcast. With the amazing panel that we have tonight, I know that anything is possible. And we are going to get down deep into discovery and answers to what's actually really happening out there. This show is all about transmutating the light from the dark and replacing fear with knowledge. Through my regression work, I have come across amazing cases with some amazing clients. It is my passion to work with them and to help them have a better understanding of the contact they've had. Whether they were taken, have had contact in the physical realm, or through a dream state. I'm grateful that my clients have agreed to allow me to use the regressions on the voices of contact. Tonight, this is the place to be because the panel breaks down the experiences, providing powerful feedback. I love it because all the listeners get to learn and connect, and the person that I regressed walks away even more immersed in the experience with a new perspective on their contact. Literally, it's a win-win, right? This is the voices of contact.
Lamp.
Hi everyone, how you guys doing tonight?
Hello.
Good.
Hey, Mary. Hi, Deb.
Welcome
Hi,
back,
Dana.
Dana.
Thank you.
Great
Missed you
to have you
guys.
back. So tonight's show picks up where we left off with the last regression. So remember, she wanted to explore experience, but she actually went back to being an ET species. And at the end of that part of the regression, they were ending a planet and trying to recreate life on that planet. So this kind of picks up in this first clip. She goes into an experience where in the last regression she was talking about the leads, the head of the species, where she kind of has a run-in with them. Now that you're at another important day, I want you to look around and tell me what's happening.
Trying to kill me. You gotta let me out.
They're trying to kill you?
Yeah, I want out.
I just want you to know you're safe and protected.
They're gonna kill me.
And you're just observing. Who's trying to kill you?
The leads.
Why are they trying to kill you?
I got too close to the room. They're trying to harm my friend.
You have a friend there with you?
They have him.
They have him?
They took him in there. And usually you go in there, they don't come out. It's my friend.
And so what happens next?
If I go any farther, they'll kill me too.
Do you have to stay out of there?
I gotta save him. I don't know how.
And so what do you do next then?
I don't know. I'm scared, but I don't want him to die.
So let's move forward just a little bit. And what's happening now?
He's screaming,
You can hear him screaming.
screaming. And his scream. We don't scream like you do.
How did they scream?
Just high, really high pitch. I guess you'd describe it as a whistle. Real high pitched.
And now what's happening? Quiet.
He's gone. They killed him. Killed him.
Yikes.
Yeah.
This sounds like a bad movie.
It sounds like a bad race. I mean, what's up in the room that's so
Like she got in trouble for just getting too
or
close.
whatever?
Yeah.
You're gonna kill something or somebody, if you will.
It's the government for you.
So the friends didn't know that, not to get close to the room. What happened there?
I don't know. I was wondering the same thing, and I almost felt like it was like one of those things where the curiosity bit the cat, but got the best of them and got him in trouble.
Or maybe they needed food.
That's a good
And
point.
took him to the room to
Yeah.
feed.
Ah,
You guys always end up guessing. Now everybody's going to have to watch the
That
rest of the
wasn't
show
a
for the last
guess.
clip.
That
I'm
was
telling you.
just a thought.
Grasshopper pie, man. Let's go.
oh no, no.
But I could feel her fear, and I could feel that she really wanted out of that
Yes, she
regression.
did. She wanted out.
And my heart was just breaking for
But
her.
I noticed you wouldn't let her.
No,
You're
Gotta
like,
go through it.
you're fine. You're good. Yeah.
No.
That's what
Sometimes
we
they
do.
just need that reminder that you're just observing. You're not really
Yeah.
experiencing it. But especially when you're really good at visualization and you're going through that regression, you see it, it does freak you out. But then always that reminder that you're just observing. You're really not experiencing it. Just
Right.
have to look at it and tell me what you see.
Mhm. Yeah.
Hmm.
My heart still hurts for her. Yeah, that had to be horrible.
And we don't scream like you do.
Yeah.
I mean, is she getting it telepathically where you can't even escape that? You can't.
You just
Yeah.
hears that high whistling.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice and good nightmare fodder for this evening.
Mhm. Right. Thanks. Yeah, it's a little creepy. I mean,
Well,
But-
and when we're saying stuff like, we don't understand because we're viewing it as a person from Earth, like a human being,
mhm.
maybe to that. But in that clip, she is relating to her friend as someone she has an attachment to, which is a very human emotion. So, and the fear is a very human emotion. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So there's more similarity maybe that way with us and that race,
Good
that
point,
maybe-
Dana.
whatever.
Mhm.
The higher up you get, the more narcissistic you get, kind of like corporate America,
Good
where it
point.
doesn't matter. I'm going to pull your friend over here and chow down because that's what you're here for. What's up with that? If
Yeah.
that's indeed what happened.
Right.
Yeah. Makes you wonder, is their food really that scarce? Boy.
That's what I said in the last
Yep.
week. Maybe that's just what they're telling her, and
Right.
it isn't really true. And now maybe we see why.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah.
A couple
there's-
movies come to my head: Soylent Green and
Soylent Green, yeah.
and Cloud Atlas. One of the multiple threads in Cloud Atlas was a future where the lower part of the hierarchy was food for the upper part.
Yeah. Mr. Heston grew up just a couple miles from here.
Oh,
Charlton
yeah.
Heston.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, the human race isn't a whole lot different.
Well,
Who are
there's a
the
Donner
workers
Party.
that
They
But aside from eating one
Literally.
another, the lower or the workers are the ones that feed everybody.
yeah.
So, are we really any different?
I really don't. In some ways, I really hope so, but it doesn't seem to be across the board. That's what I mean. There's so many different species out there, likely, that what we are, we think is the most important because, how humans are.
You know what? You
Go
just
by our
reminded.
emotions.
Yeah, you just reminded me of that one regression we had, Dana and everybody. They talked about that they understood that they were going to be food. Remember that? The one behind the rocks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, they understood that that was part of life, that eventually they would, if they reached a certain age or whatever, they're going to become food.
When they're ripe enough,
Ripe enough, yeah.
they get eaten.
And she was like, yeah, that's the way it is.
Yep, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's the same one we were talking about last week, where they literally feed off one another, their own race.
This is not where I saw this show going.
Welcome.
You never know. You never know.
No, you really don't, do you?
More fun that way.
It's definitely interesting. You learn a lot doing this show. We're listening to it, I'm sure. But some of it,
Yeah, it's
maybe
weird.
we don't want to learn.
It's weird. We don't. Like I said, we don't know what rules and regulations are other races have and what they do, and it could be anything. You would hope there's some kind of laws, and
You would hope so, but again, I have to keep coming back to it because that's what I do with things. But they've been experimenting, and now they're saying, "Oh no, we stopped doing that in the '80s." Am I correct? That's kind of the.
yeah.
I can't really vouch for that. Maybe that particular race stopped doing it back in the '80s, but I'm having stuff currently. Other people I know have stuff currently that's still continuing in that vein.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it depends which bunch you are chosen by,
Yeah.
or picked up by, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be food.
Yeah, I don't want food. No.
No, there's definitely different species out there with different intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for this next clip, it talks more about what they did to her friend and what happens when the leader part of the species catch up with her.
Quiet. He's gone. They killed him.
And so what happens next?
I'm hiding.
You're waiting.
Hiding.
You're hiding from them.
I went back to my pod.
And are you safe when you get back to your bed?
I don't know. I don't know if they saw me. Killed my friend.
I'm sorry they killed your friend.
I hate them.
And so what happens when you get up the next morning after you go back to your bed?
I can't move.
You can't move?
I'm too scared.
You're afraid to get out of your bed?
Yes.
And do you eventually get out?
They come for me.
They come to get you?
Mm-hmm.
What happens after they come to get you?
I'm not doing what I'm supposed to.
What are you supposed to do?
How do I explain it? Grafting, I think you call it.
Grafting?
Grafting cells.
You clone the bodies?
I am part of the process.
So what do they do when they come to get you?
They drag me out. Scold me. Beat me.
What happens when they're done doing that?
They send me to my station. Tell me if I'm not there or like I should be, they'll kill me too
Okay.
and eat me. There's only 3 of them.
There's only 3 leads.
They're very large, very cruel.
Do they look like you?
Mostly, but they're big. They're big, very big.
They're much larger.
Yes, it's like a super breed. It's like a super breed.
Interesting.
Sounds like slavery to me.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too. Yeah, slavery.
Yeah, I was
No, I'm
surprised
thinking
to hear
Anunnaki.
3. Oh.
When they come to the planet and they use the locals for slaves.
Yeah.
Except these aren't locals. These are actually their own breed, right? Just lower, smaller.
Smaller,
wild.
yeah.
The big
So-
ones could be a super breed, like she said. So are they maybe mixed with grafted with something else that makes them?
Yeah. When she said she was supposed to be grafting, I'm thinking, is she literally a piece of the graft that she's supposed to be doing? You know, like is she like
Oh.
sentient cells? You know, that's where my brain went like all weird and stuff there for a second.
Well, and it could be. I mean, how do we know?
I don't know.
This
Yeah.
is.
Like, is she supposed to be performing the grafting, or is she supposed to be an ingredient in the grafting part? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a good
Word.
point. Yeah.
Or that's their job, you know, to graft other species or things onto other things and test things out. And you know, this whoever these people are, they're
Very
It's-
nice.
Sound like a
For
Yeah.
some reason, I was seeing like cells grafting of cells across
Yeah.
like
yeah
a surface.
making some weird things. But yeah, so it sounds. I mean, even like I'll go back to the ants. You know, like ants. The drones and the queens are much bigger than the workers. You know?
Yeah, bees too. I think our queen bee, our bees, queen
Yeah,
bees,
bees too.
bigger.
Many
than the-
insects are that way. That's why we still don't really know. Is this insectoid or is it amphibian? You know what I mean? Frog type
Or amphibians. Yeah.
amphibians.
Well, all I
Um,
can say is that person is awfully terrified of whatever they are, to the point
Right.
where you wouldn't even during hypnosis go into that room.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds scary to me more than a positive
Mhm.
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. But now I'm curious. I'd like to go back and find the episode with the other race that was eating themselves, their own kind.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wondering if it's the same race here.
If I
Different
remember
people.
correctly, she described her body as red, and it was more like ant-like.
Oh,
Okay. So still an insect,
yeah. A colonized insect.
right?
But this one, no, she sounds like she leans towards more with her description. Like Dana and Deb too said, the frog-like amphibian type, just with the way she described the hands and the feet with suction cups and 3.
Right. Right. But there's so many insectoid hints in here as well. It's hard to say.
Yeah. How does a grasshopper here fly, land on the side of
That's a good
a house
point.
and just stick there? So they must have something.
True.
But I tell you what, it sounds like I'd be getting some folks together and have some mutiny here on this ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Telling you.
It definitely sounds like
There's
they're
only
workers.
3 of them.
There's only
yeah.
3 of them, and how many
Yeah,
little
Uh-huh.
guys that
they need a leader. Come get me. We'll rewrite it, Dawn. Let's
But
go.
wait till she's done with surgery, please.
Yes.
Unless you got something faster.
Great.
Get some crazy humans up there. We'll take it over.
Mhm.
Right.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that doesn't sound like a very pleasant life.
No. Very
Whether it be, like you said, Deb, a simultaneous, something happening in a parallel universe,
Yeah.
or is it a past life or whatever? Either way, it doesn't sound very pleasant.
Mm-mm.
No. And it's hard as a human to imagine that type of being, but there's all types.
Yeah.
So now it starts to get better. With the next part of her regression, she finds herself on a planet and she's actually bringing a new species to integrate it into the planet.
And I want you to look around and describe what you see for me.
A lot of rocks.
See a lot of rocks?
Mm-hmm. We're on a planet.
Do you know what planet you're on?
No. I don't recognize this one.
And what are you doing on the planet?
I've got 2 new creatures with me. I'm looking for a good place for them to start.
So the creatures that you brought with you,
I created them.
and you're going to leave them on that planet?
Mm-hmm.
What happened to the other creatures on the planet?
I don't think there were any.
So you're just creating creatures for this planet?
We do testing. We take samples.
What do the creatures look like?
Well, that kind of answers my questions about whether she's part of the graft, because she's clearly not, at least not in this instance.
No, I didn't think so. I think she was part of the making whatever they're supposed to be
Mhm.
making. Yeah.
Not one of the ingredients.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's figure this out. Now we've got this race of beings. They're going around and they're putting different types of beings that they're creating on a new planet. Obviously, it didn't have any life forms. And what is the purpose? What is the what will they gain?
Sounds like panspermia. Panspermia, is that what they call it? Where they
Yeah.
seed life on other planets?
Yeah.
Right. Well, if they get their food from other planets, that might be one of their main food sources. But they might need beings on that planet to grow the vegetation for them to eat.
You guys are so good.
Guess we got it again.
Yeah. So, I mean, that makes perfect sense. There are beings there to make sure that their food grows.
Or are they the food that grows?
Yeah.
After
Yeah.
there's
Yep.
more.
Right. Yeah.
We'll figure it out. I'll tell you.
Right.
I just
Oh,
hope I
we're
wake
trying
up
to-
on the right side of the alien hood when it happens.
Yeah.
Me too. Me too.
Well, it's
Yeah.
definitely not the first time we've heard that concept of seeding of the planet, in some shape or form. And still, I think the purpose of it sometimes eludes us as to why we're created, why we're seeded. What's the purpose of the outcome for it?
Mhm.
So it's definitely not the first time in a regression or one of these shows that we've discussed the evolution of planets, not just ours, but just like with Mars, that used to be a planet. They say that Mars used to be a planet, and there's still species that lives underground. Just nobody would know it because they live underground because they got destroyed by another planet and the debris from it blowing up into their atmosphere.
Yeah. And they're even coming out now, Mary, that there's more water on the planet now and more surface life than we've been told. on Mars still there, but because actually it's 70 degrees at the equator in Mars, so it's not as cold as people think it is. But it gets cold as you go north or south. But yeah.
That's an interesting fact.
What was that? No,
That was
Whose
my.
radio?
That was me.
it
Sorry.
was you. Oh,
Yeah, as my phone went off, and I'm like, stop. I thought I
Yeah,
was.
so they're saying there's more surface water than what we're being told there.
Mhm. Yeah.
I
well,
think I
usually
read
where
that.
there's water, there's life. So
Yes.
Yeah. But if you think about it, any beings that are going to put that kind of effort into another planet, it has to be some sort of self gain there.
Yeah, they want something from it.
Mm-hmm. And that's why, you know, we're so curious about why do we have so many starseeds? Why are we having more and more and more people taken, or people realizing that they're being taken?
Well, people come up missing all the time.
Right. There has to be an agenda.
yeah,
Just
So,
why are we a big experiment?
mhm. Yeah.
How many times have I said I'm some teenage aliens, high school?
Yep.
You know,
they're up there right now poking you with a stick.
I'm floating around in a petri dish somewhere, and I'm just so tiny I can't see it. Some high school kid probably got a B plus or something.
Teacher, this one's giving you a problem.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know. We don't know. There's something.
It sounds like a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
to
gotta be
serve
like,
man. Oh my God. I don't know why that popped in my head.
Reminds me of that one where those dolls were in that.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
Yeah, for Christmas, for people dropping down, they were alive. They kept hearing this big bell, which was the Salvation guy outside ringing the bell, and they
Oh,
were trying to get out of there. And when they got out of there, just a doll falls in the snow. You know, they were just dolls in a container that people dropped off.
I guess it's all about perspective.
It's crazy.
right. Is she having horrible nightmares?
No, she kind of took it all in stride.
Wow.
She, you know, and I think she has a lot more to explore. I'd like to explore the spot that she has on her arm,
Oh,
that lump.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that would be curious. Interesting to see what that
Yeah.
was.
Dana's gone. Yeah. Yeah.
Having
We all
had some
have
lumps
lumps.
and spots myself, I can verify it too.
Yeah.
just if they're gonna bruise, you know, if that's indeed what's going on with me, for instance, if they're gonna bruise it, they need to make it a little less obvious than a square.
Yeah, right.
Or,
Triangle.
you're an advanced race. Like, do
Right.
something where it might be like, oh, I must have bumped the corner of the door, not
Mhm.
a square.
Yeah. Or make it look pretty.
Yeah, be obvious about
Something.
it. Like, put an alien head bruise or something. You know,
Yeah.
don't give me these
Elaborate.
obscure things.
Right. True.
The injection marks are the things that bother me when they show up, though. I gotta say, even over any bruising, it's because I don't know why that would be there. Otherwise, like, it's not that I'm a heroin addict injecting myself between my toes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those photos, I have to say, kind of.
I
Blew
did
me
send
away.
them. Did I send them? Yeah, I sent them to you. That's
Mhm.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, they're taking samples or something of some kind for sure.
Great. There's gonna be cloned Danas somewhere.
that's the graphing she's doing.
little
Yeah,
tiny
it's all
things
little
running all
Danas.
over.
Great. I'm so sorry, you guys.
Boy, that'd be a fun place to visit. Talk about mouthy. I would love it.
I don't know. Kind of a neurotic planet, but there it is.
Yeah.
So for this next clip, it talks more about the planet and what the species is doing there and how the species is going to survive on the planet.
Well, one of them has long hair. I'm trying to remember what you call these creatures that they look like. A wolf? Dog? Wolf?
So
They're-
walks on all fours.
Yes,
What's the other one
But-
look like?
but they're much bigger.
Much bigger than a regular wolf.
Yes, and they think more like we do. Like for regenerating the planets to make it prosperous. And the other one, the female. This one's a female. The other's a male. But they're not the same.
What does the female look like?
It's closer to what I look like. But she too has hair. So she walks with 2 legs with the hair.
Is she fully covered with hair?
Yes. This planet's cold.
Why is it so cold?
It's far away from the sun.
What does the planet look like? Can you describe it for me?
At this point, being a new colony, it's very barren. They have to be bred, per se, to understand how to fix the planet so it's livable and how to farm it.
How do they farm it if it's barren?
They have to find ways to, because they're gifted like we are. They can create. So they can create the cells that are necessary to be able to repopulate the planets just from what's there.
So do you find a place for them to stay?
Yes, there's what you call a cave. This planet has a lot of cave areas. And they don't need much. Very little, in fact. They're left with enough nutrients to get them through almost a year. So they have a good chance to get things changed with the planets.
How do you feel about the work that you do?
As long as it helps the planets, I'm good.
And so what do you do after you find the place for them?
We just make sure that they have the nutrients they need to keep them going so they can do what they have to do to fix the planet. This planet's red. It's really, really red.
Everything is red?
Red and really dark browns. But if you look at it, it just looks red.
Can you see the sun in the sky at all?
It's like a dot way in the distance. This planet's very far from the sun. They're not telling me the name of it.
Well, that's bizarre. None of that made sense to me in my head. I'm trying to follow it.
Exactly.
And I'm like, wait, what?
Well, they get first pick at the apartments anyway. I mean, which cave do you want?
But it sounds like they're dealing with a lot of clay, a sun far away. It's very cold. How in the hell are they going to grow it? She said that, they're going to farm.
At one
I'm
point in her
confused.
diet, I heard in my head, oh, they must be like we had manna from heaven, back in the olden, back in the way back when, people fed nutrients fell from the sky,
Right.
That popped in my head for a minute. I'm just trying to make logical, I'm trying to find a logical timeline in my head, and I'm not doing very well at it.
Well, I wonder if they were given other stuff that she's not mentioning. Like
Yeah.
seeds. I don't know, or special growing stuff, or
But seeds, I mean, if they're dealing with a red brown planet,
Isn't that Mars? Isn't Mars?
Yeah, that's what I
like
thought
three red
about.
planets.
Yeah.
Isn't that what?
right?
what planet
Maybe
Mars?
she's on a need to know basis. Like, so she's got this little tiny sliver of a job that she does, which is just take them down there and put them there after she makes them. But she doesn't really, somebody else's job is,
It feels like
You know what I mean?
slavery. Like they're
Yeah.
like the little peons that
Mhm.
are doing this, what we would probably consider
hard labor.
crazy, but crazy science, you know?
Yeah.
But their job's just to go down, basically impregnate a planet with whatever it is and wait for the fruition of whatever they planted. Wonder how
So-
long that takes.
Yeah. So why do they have a wolf bean and a bean like her?
That is covered in hair,
Hmm.
Well, because it's cold there, she said.
right?
So they probably need hair. But
I feel like they're trying to create planets so they have the nutrients that they need.
yeah.
I really don't think it has anything to do with the species that they created. They're just something there that will work in their benefit and they can take it.
Right.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm mind blown. Why would they, they go to war and they save this planet and they're going to repopulate this planet, but it's so far from the sun and it doesn't sound like it's great for growing any of their nutrients because they said they eat, vegetation.
Well, we don't know about that. Do we know if they eat vegetation? We just kind of made that assumption.
No, she just says nutrients. She never talks about exactly where those nutrients came from. On the planet originally, the species that was there destroyed the planet and then ate everything else that was on the planet.
So we were going by what grasshoppers eat here, if they were like.
Well, I thought that last week she said
Like
they had
grain.
to get vegetation, grain, and
Oh, yeah,
stuff
grain,
from
that's
other
right. Yeah, you're right.
planets.
All
Right.
natural,
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as we know, we're human. If it's going to be that type of thing, they have to grow it.
Yeah.
But I'm
Well, like I
just
said, I don't know
human.
what they gave them to do that. Maybe they have technology that we don't know about. That
I'm
will
so confused.
change the soil,
Right.
put nutrients in it. So,
I am too. Yeah. Now
I
I
mean,
want to investigate this race and find out what the heck.
Well, it's
Yes.
just like us with our dairy herds, maybe,
Yeah.
You buy them, you feed them, you milk them.
You slaughter them.
They're not us necessarily, but they're our food
yeah.
or create our food. They even fertilize seeds for vegetables for people that
Well,
don't even
she's-
eat them.
They fart
Yeah.
and they make gas in the atmosphere. So
They do that as well.
maybe they need living creatures on the planet
Well,
to affect the natural cycles of things to change it that way with you know what I mean? I don't
they
know.
make fertilizer.
Yeah.
Well,
They might
even
fertilize it.
insects, the bees pollinate things. So maybe
Mhm.
it's stuff like that too, where they have to establish it from maybe a base level and then build up from that to make all the different wheels turn.
She felt very confident, though, that within a year they should be able to do this.
That's
So-
a
Pretty fast.
short amount of time. That's
Yeah,
pretty
I mean,
fast.
I think it is, but like I said, I don't know what they were given and what they're
Human
actually
arms.
trying to
Well,
grow.
plus we don't know how advanced somebody like that is.
Right.
They could have sped up all of these things that we've waited how many millions of years for to get that they
Yeah.
can do overnight.
one of their years might be 1,000 of ours.
Right.
That's true.
Who knows?
Good point. Yeah.
But HR still is not good in
No.
that area because those little
No.
guys are getting bullied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that part seems to be the hierarchy stuff. Maybe it never really truly goes away, unfortunately. Not with them
Right.
anyway.
And then you have to wonder about the reproduction of the beings, with the
Do I
male
have to?
being wolf-like and the female being whatever it is, but hairy. What the heck are they going to make?
And that's why I was wondering if they were just being used to create the nutrients versus actually being seeded, because you would think rationally they wouldn't be able to procreate with each other.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
as far as this planet goes, we didn't think that, but who knows?
That's
Yeah,
true.
I thought that too. If there's one of those things and one of those things, how are they going to make more of their particular things with? Yeah, and that's why
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm so confused.
It's going to definitely take more than two beings if they're redoing this whole planet
Hmm.
and saving this whole planet. So, yeah, this is a confusing.
This, I have to say, this out of all the 40 some we've done, this is pretty strange.
It's not my fault.
Yeah, it's your fault.
It's because Dana's
That's Dana's
here.
But you know,
I knew it
nothing
would be
to do with
weird
me.
if Dana
Did not
came.
pick these topics. I'm just flying in for visits.
Because this is a strange one for sure.
It is.
It is.
Yeah. I can't wrap my head around it.
All right. So for the very last clip here, we move her to a point of the regression of the end of life. What happens when it's that time and it's your last day and it's end of life.
Mm.
And now we're at the last day of your life. What's happening around you?
Still alive.
Still alive?
Mm-hmm. We have very long lives.
How long do you usually live?
Thousands of years.
So what happens then? How do you move on then if you live for thousands of years?
When our timeline is complete, we go to our pod, and the 3 elders, will come and take you, and they eat you.
They eat you?
Mm-hmm. You just put to sleep in the pod. They put a sleep toxin in the pod, so you can't wake up, and they eat you.
How do you know when your timeline's done?
We don't. They do.
So they don't give you a warning?
No.
Do they tell you before you go into your pod?
No.
I
Well,
knew
if they
it.
told me, I wouldn't go in.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? Right.
I'm not going in there.
I knew that's how this was going to go.
Yep.
Eat you.
I don't understand this race
I don't either.
very well. I mean,
Yeah.
because obviously it's not the human race, and I'm thinking as a human being, but I don't know. I mean, it seems like an awful lot to go through just to be poisoned and eaten by your own people.
And then I'm thinking if they give you some kind of toxin to make you go to sleep and then they eat you, don't you get affected by the poison that just knocked you out? You're supposed to be the same species, sort of. So, and then I'm already making excuses for them. I'm like, oh, that could be like they just, make your oxygen or whatever go away until you're dead and then you're okay. I don't know. I'm justifying how they could kill them and poison them and then still eat them without having the effects of the poison.
Right.
I would be curious if that conscious being transfers to another place, would they remember that life? Like, does that improve as we go along here?
Yeah,
So, like,
I
when she hit 2000 and they're like, oh, let's knock her out tonight and chow down, does that soul inside of that being then come out and go, dudes, you could have warned me, but then ends up maybe reincarnating into
going back to source and then
something.
Or
Yeah.
becomes a part of who they ate.
Yeah.
I mean, who
Well-
ate them. I mean,
Yeah, I think that's truly what we are, is we are spiritual and consciousness and soul and energy, but living in these bodies for the experience. But yeah,
Or for food.
you know,
That too.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But imagine there's only 3 of them that are running the whole show.
they must be scary.
They run this whole ship.
And they
We
gotta
have
be
all
really
these little
old.
things.
Why aren't we
running
eating
around.
them? They're really old, she said. Remember in the beginning, like,
Yeah.
that those beings were older. They were
Yeah.
older. So there's 3
bigger.
really old ones. But are they knocking them out and eating them? I mean, they're bigger. They're
well, that's what I'm
old.
saying. They did a mutiny, man. Let's go.
Great.
Let's,
I'll wake
Right,
up
and-
with lots of poke holes in my feet tomorrow morning because you said that.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. No, I just wonder, of how long the guys in the middle do they remain the same? Are they the same things forever and
Right.
ever and ever?
Right. Yeah.
They've got to be a different species than the ones working. That's what
well,
it feels
I
like.
mean,
Right.
she said they look alike, but I wonder. I mean, there's got to be something different about them.
They're
And
big
if
and
there's
meat.
only 3,
Yeah.
it's like they don't expire. They continue on because there's nobody to take over. Right?
They keep eating them.
Yeah, I mean, what's their agenda?
That's what I mean.
It doesn't sound like they're independent of what they're, for everything else. They got their own agenda, and doesn't sound like it's a good one.
I mean, it almost sounds like just a family instead of a whole race. You know what I mean? I mean, there
Oh,
are
that's even
3
worse.
big beings running this whole thing,
Yeah.
and
And the dogs just came in, the dog-like creatures they're putting
Well-
on this red planet. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean,
Yep, they're
they
great.
obviously know genetics, or they're doing something weird, but
Hmm.
sounds like they need someone to check on them.
Yeah.
What are you guys up to, man? What are
yeah.
you doing here?
It might be why we don't hear more about this, whatever this race is. They're not a huge race. So,
There's only
It sounds
3
like
of them.
it's like somebody said it, they're self-serving. So they're basically running their own show and
Yeah.
be
Right.
damned to everybody else. They're
Yeah.
going to take what they need and go make what they need. And
Yeah.
they don't really interact
mhm.
because
Yeah,
they're
self-serving,
ever
for
friendly.
sure.
The 3 dudes
Yeah.
in the middle are, not
Yeah.
exactly Captain Personality types.
Right. And this isn't a case of somebody being contacted by them or having interaction with them. It's somebody remembering they were one of them.
I
before
have
they were
seen
eaten.
stuff on the dog things though before.
But wouldn't that be a different race?
That is, but that's what they were talking about putting onto this red planet though, correct? The
Yeah.
shaggy guys,
Yeah.
if they are the same, which who knows? Maybe that's our Squatch out there.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Or a dog man.
Sasquatch or-
Yeah, the cryptid part.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that they're a genetic something messed with
So maybe they're planting a couple down here, like, let's see how this works with putting this, what we made here. Everybody's like, we just saw Bigfoot, or we just saw Goat Man, or whatever it is.
Cool, man.
We have a goat man over by me. We have a dog man. We have the Beast of Bray Road.
Yeah,
all in
and there's the
my-
werewolf of London. And
You remember that show
Yes.
Fridays, the Goat Man?
What's that?
That show Fridays they had, it was like Saturday Night Live. It was Fridays. They had.
Oh
Goat-
yeah, I remember
man.
Oh,
that.
yeah.
He was born
yeah.
underneath the stadium in Chicago, and oh my God, that was so funny. Oh, geez.
Yep,
Goat
yep.
Man.
But again, maybe we're a test planet for, maybe that's our
Yeah.
future. Or these things that we were thinking are cryptid are actually what's coming after us. Maybe, I don't know. Like after
Well, they've been here a long
we kill
time.
ourselves
huh?
off,
Yeah, they've
or
been
is
here a
that the
long time.
repopulated breed coming in. I don't know.
Right.
Yep. We're gonna find out.
All right, that's all we have for tonight, you guys.
Wow.
Big
Thanks for
you
blowing our
guys.
minds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for. I'm tired and I won't sleep.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna be like, what was that noise?
At least you get an extra hour on us. Before you have to go to bed.
Hmm.
We'll have nightmares first. We'll get up and call you. Hey, I done.
I dreamt about the dog man.
Yeah.
The goat man showed up. Yeah.
All right. See you
Have a good
guys.
night,
Thanks,
guys.
you guys.
Dana.
Bye.
Love you guys.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Good night.